Thank you for joining the Minority Health Matters podcast, produced and paid for by the Indiana Minority Health Coalition. On our podcast, we will be providing information and discussions around pertinent health issues in our communities. So keep tuning in as we are your resource for all things minority health.
Hello everyone, my name is Trevon Moore. I'm an intern here at IMHC. I'll be hosting the Minority Health Matters podcast. We have a lot of exciting episodes where we'll cover a variety of subjects and topics that will be both informative and entertaining, so please stay tuned. Hi everyone, my name is Trevon. I'll be hosting the podcast segment of Vaping today. I'm joined by Tiffany. Could you give us a little bit of background for a name and what you do?
Thank you for having me, Trevon. I'm Tiffany. I am the advocacy director for your Indiana American Lung Association. A little bit of background: I started in tobacco prevention and cessation back in 2001, long before vaping was even thought about. I am still in tobacco prevention and cessation to a certain degree. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. We're excited for you to join us. So, Tiffany, you do have expertise on tobacco usage and concerns in the public health. So I got a few questions today about vaping, and I want to start it off with what motivated you to become interested in public health implications of vaping? Well, not necessarily vaping, but tobacco.
Motivated me to be in public health was I graduated from IMHC, and I realized that there was this whole field out there working to help prevent many of the chronic diseases and behaviors that many of my family members have dealt with, and in fact succumb to those behaviors, not because they, simply because they didn't realize that what they were doing was causing such detrimental health effects to their health. Tobacco being one of the greatest ones. I come from a long line of smokers, people that would be holding a baby and smoking a cigarette at the same time. That's why.
Right. Completely. So your background definitely plays a big part of why you do what you do today, right?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay. Having that background and, like you mentioned, I heard you say holding a baby and smoking a cigarette. What do you think are some of the key issues that need to be addressed, vaping or tobacco?
Vaping first, it kind of snuck up on public health and public health as a whole. We know that the tobacco industry has to find replacement customers. So they came out with these cool new products that they can get young people hooked on. Because most young people realize that tobacco is gross and it's bad, or smoking is gross and it's bad. We work so hard to denormalize cigarette smoking, but at the same time, the tobacco industry is coming with a product that they can come out with and appeal to younger, new customers, and it didn't hold the same stigma as holding a cigarette.
Okay. What do you think are some common misconceptions about vaping and public health, and how do you think we can address those misconceptions?
One of the biggest ones that vaping is simply harmless water. It's just water. When in fact, vape juice, if you will, is an aerosol, and it contains many harmful chemicals. And it's such a new product. I always like to think that people that are vaping are almost guinea pigs. When cigarettes first came out, they were touted as being with coffee. It took decades for the Surgeon General to issue a report saying that cigarettes were detrimental to the health. And I just hate for 2 or 3 generations to go by being guinea pigs to vaping, vape pigs, or hookah, when I actually live there, simply because many young people, and particularly African Americans, is because that's the people that I'm around, really enjoy hookah. They almost think it's something that's cool, it's harmless, when in fact it's a large chunk of tobacco that's being lit on fire and being smoked.
Yeah.
And it contains harmful chemicals.
And it's so interesting that you say that, Tiffany, because I was doing my research, and the big thing that they try to advertise is that was not harmful to people you're around as much as a cigarette. So I'm glad you brought that to my attention, because I didn't know how harmful it was. And then another question I have is, what do you see as the most significant health risk associated with vaping?
We have an outbreak here. I want to say right before COVID, Indiana, EVAP is a a baby lung disease that affects many young people. In fact, you can find additional information on that whole outbreak on the State Department of Health, the Indiana Department of Health's website. They had to mobilize and quickly understand how they had to be dealt with. Young people were getting sick, young people were arriving at the ER from using this new product that often myself and other parents were shocked by what it said. It almost looked like it was e-home. It was the charger.
What you saying that, how do you think that they compare to the risk of smoking traditional cigarettes from a public health perspective?
So they are so new, we don't have a lot of data. But what I would say is that aerosol is you know how secondhand smoke, they don't smoke like, they don't want to be around secondhand pollution smoke. I would encourage people that don't vape to look at vaping as secondhand aerosol and to really limit their exposure to secondhand vaping aerosol because you don't know the harms that it can do to the body at this time.
All right. That was one more important thing I wanted to tag on to what you said really fast. A lot of people are believing the reason they do vape is because, it's better than a cigarette. It's an alternative to potentially stop them from smoking cigarettes. Do you think that a vape could be just as addictive as a cigarette, though?
I'll share what I see. I see many adults say that they're going to use a vape as a cessation tool. In fact, there are FDA-approved smoking cessation tools, such as Chantix, which is a peel, such as a patch, such as gum, such as a lozenge. And these things have went through the FDA standards for approval. Vaping has not been approved by the FDA as a cessation tool.
Okay.
I say that to say that I would look into those evidence-based, FDA-approved cessation tools rather than pick up a vaping product if I was a person.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And in fact, young people that don't even smoke are vaping. So if it's truly a cessation tool, why are young people so drawn and it seems like young people have taken over vaping as it's their generation's right.
Yeah, I definitely see a lot of that. How can policymakers or public health officials work to reduce the appeal of vaping overall, to specifically to young people to prevent underage use of these products?
One of the most important things I think policymakers can do to help young people, and even adults that are vaping, you don't necessarily see young people smoking a vape tobacco flavor. Most young people are using a flavored vaping product. So they have creme brulee, mango, pineapple, cherry. What adult is going to go and buy a cherry pineapple product to smoke? Hookah or vape. Those are appealing to young people simply because we know that young people are going to be intrigued by those flavors. So one of the things that Indiana lawmakers can do is not wait on the federal government to implement its flavor restriction plan. Indiana legislators have the power to restrict flavors. Any flavored tobacco product, and we can afford them to do this, and please be not without menthol. Menthol is the number one flavor. Menthol is cool. So if a flavor ban was put in place in Indiana, we would definitely be down for advocating and helping them to understand menthol is the number one flavor used by children and adults.
All right. Yeah, because in all honesty, if I was a smoker, with me being young, I would be more drawn to smoke one that's kind of a flavored one, and that so maybe that advertisement should stop, and that could definitely be a way. So, what do you think about the impact of marketing and advertising on the popularity of vaping, and how can public health regulations be used to ensure that consumers are properly informed, about the vape and what it actually is?
So one of the things that can be done is point of sale. Point of sale meaning when you go to the convenience store, you get your hot fries and your energy drink, and you're buying bar and buy advertisements. Because in your generation, you've never seen cigarette commercial on TV. I'm from that generation. I've seen these things on TV products. So what they do now is they put these products and make them cool. So there'll be a product, somebody on your favorite streaming show will be baking, maybe a Mr. Fall that's around the neck. Or when you go to buy your hot Cheetos and then you go to the gas station, right there at the point of sale, you will see all of the baking products just there. And that goes to normalize baking. It's a little opposite of what we have worked so hard to do, to normalize smoking. Or just say you don't even have to go in the gas station. Just say you have a car, you can be at the pump. You will see maybe a fuse, a Mr. Fall sign.
Wow. Yeah.
On the pump.
Yeah. I never looked at it like that. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what
wow.
Marketing.
Yeah.
Sale marketing. That is a lot of money to do those kind of things that the general public may not have any idea of. That the industry is doing that to make maybe they see it as something that's normal.
As far as industry-wise, I heard you mentioning a little bit the tobacco industry and then the vaping industry. How do you think those two?
Oftentimes, those are one and the same. I will say this: Juul came out, it's a very small company that came out, but your big companies, your RJ Reynolds, your larger tobacco companies are like, oh, we need to get involved in that. That's making a lot of money. But now, those larger tobacco companies that have been around for decades, they're in the vaping industry. They follow a lot of the smaller companies.
Good point. Well, that answers that question. Do you believe that there are any benefits of vaping?
To be fair, in all honesty, I don't have the answer to that. I just would encourage people to understand that cigarettes came out originally as something that was meant to, as a health aid. And it took decades and a lot of lives lost before our Surgeon General at the time came out and said, no, these can and do cause cancer.
Yeah.
So I would just hate for young people that are alive today to have friends and wow, we wait to get the science and the data. I just really want to be a kid. Is how I look at it.
Okay. One more question that kind of ties to my previous one before that one. Are there any implications for tobacco companies for the harm caused to people who use their products?
I'm not sure if you're familiar with the master settlement agreement.
No, I'm not familiar with that at all.
In the late 90s, several states got together to sue your big tobacco companies to recoup some of the money that states lose treating people when they get sick or they get sick and die from using tobacco. So those companies were sued. Indiana was one of those states. We get a large portion of money every year from the tobacco industry, from the master settlement agreement. But again, in the late 90s, tobacco had been around for years, for decades, for forever. It was a part of, I would say, I thought as a young person, to be an adult, you have to smoke. You have to smoke. You're wrong to smoke. I can buy cigarettes and so it's a very long time for us to get this. I just don't want people to come on the scene and undo all of that work that has been done in the past. And it kind of feels like it is. So I think there will be some implications for the vaping industry. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Indiana was just awarded some money from Juul. And they believe that money won't go into the general fund. That money is specifically going to go into our tobacco prevention and cessation agency at our State Department of Health. I'm sure there will be more of those lawsuits unless vaping companies are ordered to shut down by the federal government. But if that happens, that will be, I would say, a really long, drawn-out process. That won't happen overnight.
Right. And I definitely get what you're saying about how much work you put in, and then you kind of see where you're hoping that all that work doesn't get messed up with the whole vaping thing becoming a cool thing. Me and you, we grew up in two different eras. So whereas when I was growing up, it was kind of like, ew, you smoking cigarettes? That's nasty. And with, like you mentioned, you're adult. Oh, you're not adult if you're not smoking cigarettes. But now it's like, oh, vape is in place. Vape is cool. It's cool to have a vape in high school. It's so easy to attain one too nowadays because they're so cheap as well. So yeah, I definitely get that. So I just got one last question to wrap things up, Tiffany. What steps do you think public health officials should take to address the public health implications of vaping in the future? And then how can we work to ensure that the potential benefits of vaping are maximized while the risks are minimized?
One thing I think public health officials can do, but it's going to go back to our legislators. First, I would like to see our legislators adequately fund our Tobacco Prevention and Cessation Commission.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I shared earlier that Indiana was one of the states that receives a large sum of funds every year from the tobacco industry, from that lawsuit.
Right.
We don't fund our tobacco prevention and cessation program nearly at the CDC recommended level, which means they are limited in their capacity to have a full impact around the state. So they do some grants that they provide to the community. However, we have 92 counties. Currently, only 47 of those counties receive those dollars. They don't have the money to do a very robust public education campaign. Back in the 80s, I remember First Lady of the United States, Nancy Reagan, had this very large campaign, Say No to Drugs. I, as a little girl, knew back then, oh no, I'm not doing drugs. That campaign really resonated. So if the State Department of Health is given an adequate amount of money to really do programming that's out there, they can do a very robust public education campaign around vaping, what it is, why it's bad, why students can't sit through a 50-minute class without vaping,
Right.
why they're running to the bathroom because they're addicted. But they need the dollars. We're in for the legislative discussion to at least give them 15 million annually.
So funding that money in the right places. Okay. Yeah, I understand. We had a campaign like that when I was younger in school too, Say No to Drugs. And it was, I think he would dress up in a wolf and then it was like a red t-shirt he had. And man, I don't see a lot of things like that anymore at all. So yeah, say no to vapes.
Say no to that.
Right. Right.
I mean, something has to be done to let people know. And there needs to be some parent education. Some parents don't just fool with their kids with that.
No, absolutely. Absolutely not. Yeah, Tiffany, I think that's it. You have any other thing you want to say to the guests before you leave?
Last thing I would like to say is if you have a young person or know a young person that is vaping and they can't seem to control when they're vaping, please look at it as an addiction. Young people can be addicted to things too. Please speak to your child's pediatrician about ways that your child can help to handle this addiction. Don't put it off as a rite of passage. And know this, that many young people start out vaping, but eventually move to traditional cigarettes.
Right. Well, you heard it here first, guys. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for joining us. You've been amazing. You gave me a lot to think about and gave me a lot of insight on vaping. You're definitely an expert.